Hey, what's going on, my Utah study friends? Welcome back to school, kind of. This is a very strange situation for us all, but we're all going to get through it because we're tough and we're resilient like that. It's also, I want to note, very historical. This has really never happened in our country to this extent where sports and restaurants and businesses are completely shut down. And most importantly, in your guys' lives, you guys aren't coming to school. We still are, but you guys aren't, trying to avoid these large crowds. But we must move on. So, welcome back to class. I know this is a little odd, but I want you to pay attention to what's going on. So, we're going to talk about this week. This is March 16th through the 20th. And we're going to focus on Brigham Young and the Pioneers. Now, as you can see, I'm on my main screen here in Canvas. Go ahead and go to assignments when you're doing this, and you will see an assignment somewhere that's called Brigham Young Comes to Utah. And that is what we are going to be focusing on this week, is Brigham Young coming to Utah. Now, I'm going to talk about him in a second, but more importantly, I want to show you how to complete the task for this week. We are going to start slow. We're going to start with one task, okay? And if you go to this page, which you're already here because you saw the video, you're going to see that the task is below here. It's in a Google Doc, so you can complete it on the Google Doc. Hopefully it opens up. It'll take a second because it's how life works. Okay, here it is. So it's called Task, March 16th through the 20th, and it's connected right here to this assignment. So go ahead and just click on that and then hit the submit. You can't see it right now because I'm on my teacher view, but you'll be able to see the blue submit button right here in this area. So you just have a few questions to answer this week. You have 5 questions. Number 1, why wasn't Brigham Young in the first group to see the Salt Lake Valley? Number 2, what did Brigham Young say when he first entered the valley? Number 3, explain in your own words how life was like on the trail for pioneers. Number 4, what kind of trouble and hardships did the pioneers face on the trail to the Salt Lake Valley? And number 5, kind of a fun question, in your own opinion, what would have been the hardest part of being a pioneer? And I want you to explain that. Now, you're probably asking yourself, where can we find the answers to this? I have provided for you in this little slideshow on the assignment the necessary pages from the textbook. So you'll be able to come and read through parts of the textbook and find those answers. Now, once you answer these questions, and I want you to answer them in complete sentences, okay? I don't care what color, but complete sentences. Then I want you to come down here and complete part 2. I want you to find 10 words. How many? 10. 10 words that you are not familiar with. And once you find that word, just type it in here. So maybe you saw the word wagon train, and you're not familiar with that. Type it in there, okay? Wagon train's 2 words, so make sure it's 2 words. But find 10 words you're not familiar with and put them down through here. And when you get done answering the 5 questions and those 10 words, go ahead and come up here and hit the submit, okay? Now, that's our first task for the week. I think I made the due date, yikes, next Monday, which I think is the 23rd. 23rd is the due date because next Monday you'll get a new task from me, okay? So this is the due date. Go ahead and answer those 5 questions, get it in, and you'll be done with Utah studies for the week. Now, let's talk about Brigham Young. So Brigham Young right here. This handsome fella right here is Brigham Young, and he took over after Joseph Smith and his brother Hiram Smith were martyred by they were killed by a mob in Illinois. The people living in Illinois did not like the Mormons. And we talked about that before we left. They did not like the Mormons, so they booted them. Now, Brigham Young, he was a visionary man, and he decided to take his religious followers, and they went to Utah. Okay, he led the Mormons out of Illinois and towards Utah. Now, halfway through, they stopped in what we now know as Omaha, Nebraska, but it was called winter quarters. Then they stopped for the winter because it was cold, and they had severe freezing issues. Plus, they had disease, and other things that were hardships for these pioneers. They left after the winter into the spring and first stepped into the Salt Lake Valley on July 24th, 1847. Now, we celebrate that day here in Utah. July 24th is a day we celebrate. We have all kinds of fun, all types of celebrations. We treat it kind of like the 4th of July. Now, what's interesting and what you're going to read about in the pages I've given you, that's when Brigham Young stepped into the valley. There was actually an advance party that stepped in 2 days earlier on July 22nd, but we celebrate July 24th. Okay. Now, what you're going to read through here, life as a pioneer was pretty interesting. They walked several miles a day. Buffalo obviously was a big source of food, but also, other animals. But they walked several miles a day using oxen to pull their wagons. And that wasn't just men. You can see in this picture right here, it was women and children. Okay. Again, another picture of a woman. Children had a big role. They had obviously lots of responsibilities on the trail. And in this last paragraph on page 116, you're going to read about all the trouble they had on the trail: the heat, the cold, the dust, bad water, food issues, accidents, insects, okay, diseases like cholera and different diseases. Don't think they had the coronavirus, but I'm not sure. Okay. They had measles, believe it or not. Okay. They had all kinds of trouble. Being a pioneer was not really simple, obviously. Okay. So I want you to go through and read a couple of those pages and answer these questions in a complete sentence, please. Answer in the box provided. And then find 10 words you're not familiar with and turn them in. Now, if you don't know how to email through Canvas, let's talk about it for a second. First of all, your announcements are going to be big because all the classwork I'm going to put in this announcement. There's no announcements yet. I'm going to create them in a minute. So you'll be able to read any announcements I have in this announcements tab over here. Okay. If you want to send mail, there is this mailbox over here called the inbox. Okay. If you want to ask a question to me, just come over here and put right here where it says compose a new message and say, all right, let's see here. I'm in Utah Studies. I got to find Utah Studies. Let's see right there. Boom. Utah Studies. And I'm going to type in Kais because that's my last name. And there he is. Okay. You can just use that one. And dear Mr. Kais, I am excited to learn online. I do have some questions. Sign your name, ask the questions. Sincerely, we'll just say, who's going to be my guinea pig here? Brigham Young. And send it. Or put a subject in there. Utah Studies. And send it. Okay? And then what happens is it shows up in my inbox and I'm able to answer any questions you might have. Okay. So if you have questions, go ahead and use that mailbox to, get a hold of me. If you have any questions about the video, any problems that come up with the assignment, please let me know right away. I'll be here every day between 8 and 4, and I'm really glad to help. So Brigham Young, that is our task this week. Brigham Young and the Mormon pioneers and their arrival in Utah. Okay. Answer these questions. Like I said, we're going to take a little slow to get started, and we will pick it up as the time moves on. So here is to the next couple weeks. I look forward to seeing you again whenever that may come. But until then, we will just continue to have as much fun as we can doing what we do. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. We will talk to you soon.